sunshine. There's a chance of an isolated shower or thunderstorm across the south today. High temperatures will be 80 north, low 90s south. Cooler air is going to rush on in tonight, mid-50s north. Overnight lows in the mid-60s south, and sunshine, upper 70s to low 80s Friday. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
Weather is brought to you by Harry Robinson Buick GMC, where you always get more for your trade. Exit 11 off I-540 in Fort Smith. You can shop anytime at harryrobinson.com.
Radio station.
KERX, Paris, Fort Smith. From the Bush and Bushlight Studios, this is ESPN 95.3.
Good morning, Vietnam!
Broadcasting live from the Bud Light Studio.
I love Arkansas! I love everything here! Give me that thing here! Woo!
On your favorite Arkansas sports talk station.
Why did that happen in Fayetteville, Arkansas?
Dixon Street. It'll get you.
Streaming live from
Hit that line.
.com.
You want answers! I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
This is Halftime.
Man, that ball got out of here in a hurry.
With Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Phil, you're one of the best baseball announcers in the country, and Ty, you're one of the best up-and-coming young talents in the broadcasting industry. You really do your homework.
See ya, D-Mac. Hold on, man, Ryan. D-Mac not looking back. Touchdown. How about that Heisman, Mark Jones? How do you like it? Wide open again.
All right, hold on. It's almost halftime.
Some things just aren't cool. You know, one of those things is when your co-host sits down across the way from you and he's eating ice cream cake. And usually if I was sitting in a studio or in a normal office setting with that coworker, I'd be able to say, here, give me some of that. Or can I just go get some instead of have to watch you eat it? But there he is over there across the FaceTime way from me, and Ty Richardson was stuffing ice cream cake down his gullet, and there wasn't anything I could do about it. So I felt bad just before we came on the air, Ty. Way to get the show going. Happy birthday to John Neighbors. That's why you got the ice cream cake, and that's the best form of cake. And this is coming from somebody, Ty, that really isn't big into cake at all. But if I'm going to eat some, it's going to have some ice cream with it. So thanks for starting off the show with a bang, my friend. You could have at least let me know that was going on so I could have prepared by having something similar so I wouldn't feel so bad coming into this show. I should feel sweet like you just feel.
We should give John's lovely lady a shout-out because she surprised him not only with ice cream cake, but a whole giant tub of ice cream as well. So she went overboard, got him a Coke Zero and everything. So shout-out to John's lovely lady for not only just enhancing John's birthday, but his coworkers' experience as well. And you know what's funny? They didn't touch any of it. You know me. And so he's like, yeah, you can have some of this. And I guess John has CrossFit coming up, and we got, I guess, a group of dietitians around here who don't want to eat anything unhealthy. And you know me, 24 years old, great metabolism. I see food. I'm going after that sucker. And he's like, yeah, you can have some. So sure enough, I got some great cookie dough cookie cake or ice cream cake. You want me to go on?
I wondered if it was, thought this was the couple that does CrossFit together. I guess the couple that does CrossFit together still has some calories left that they can eat it at some point. But you're not going to eat that before you do your crazy cult-like workout. So, and then of course you had to. I've heard that, and I know this about CrossFit a little. I don't mean that in a negative way. I guess every time you bring up the idea of cult, that is going to have a negative name attached to it.
Typically,
I use the word cult to describe Office Space. It's a cult classic. So, I mean, it's got some positive aspects to it, just like the CrossFit workout does. But you're trying to cover up that ice cream cake by eating what you call clean eating, which to you is just mimicking your buddy Skip Bayless. Well, not buddy, but, idol a little bit. And so was that rice, chicken, and broccoli? Does that mean you've been eating that all week long?
Pulled pork, beans, and rice is what it is. But it is
Southern version of clean eating.
I will say this yesterday. That's the only thing I ate yesterday was this little bowl. So I only ate 430 calories yesterday. That's not true. I lied. I had a donut and kolache that Nick Mason brought in for the morning. So probably
I don't even know how you'd be able to track your calories for an entire day. That'd be impossible.
You should have seen what I ate at Joe's the other night. 4 tacos, 2 bowls of chips and salsa, queso, fried ice cream. Oh, it was a glorious meal at Joe's Grill and Cantina.
I think you would need like one of those Arbitron radio diaries, to put in exactly what you're eating at exactly whatever time, because it basically never stops. So here it is, a Thursday, no football game for Arkansas on Saturday, same as the case for the upcoming opponent, Kentucky. And so the Arkansas assistant coaches were in front of the media yesterday. I know Chad Morris also spoke on the weekly SEC coaches teleconference. So although you get a week off with no game, you don't get a week off from media availabilities, at least the ones that most everybody is used to. And one thing that stood out, we saw on our friend Nikki Chavanel's Twitter feed, was a clip from Jeff Traylor. And Jeff Traylor saying something I think a lot of coaches believe sometimes, especially in football, which is a playmaking sport, and one play can dictate what the rest of the game feels like or the direction that it goes. And so with Arkansas at 2-3, it sounded like Coach Traylor, and if the rest of the coaching staff believes this, that they are that close to being 4-1 instead of a losing record and still shooting for that first SEC win. Let's play that audio, and then we'll react to what Jeff Traylor had to say.
None of those guys want to be 2-3. The coaches do. I'm not being smart at all in my answers to y'all. It's just how we feel. And it's amazing how a couple plays, we're sitting in here 4-1, and we'd all be laughing and dabbing each other up. Instead, I want to go home and kick my dog.
Don't kick your dog, please. That reminds me of like the start of the movie The Dead Zone, or the book The Dead Zone by Stephen King. That's one you'll have to read. I don't know if I can assign you. I don't know if I can assign you full novels, Ty, for halftime homework, especially one that's written by Stephen King. That I think The Dead Zone went something like 400 pages long. But the guy kicks a dog at the start of the movie and the book. So please don't go doing that.
And that's for the.
I think you probably just need you just need some boxing lessons to get out the aggression.
And for our Peter listeners out there, which I know there's so many of those that listen to this program, that was it was a hyperbole. Is that what you say? In this point, that was not actually what he was going to do or what he's thought about doing.
Unless he's got a stuffed animal back home that he takes all of his football-related aggressions out on.
That too. I mean, it was a figure in speech more than anything. I'm curious, when he said DAP, Phil, you know what DAP means because you're kind of a cooler middle-aged person, but I'm sure
the DAP's been around for a long time now. I mean, it's various handshakes and ways that you greet somebody or celebrate something.
That's true, but the definition of the word DAP, I'm sure there's some older listeners right now that have no idea what that means, and there's probably some media members. I would have been curious to ask Bob Taub, and we're having Bob on it about in a little bit, and then a couple of the older media members that I just like to give a hard time if they actually knew what DAP was before he went on to talk about that. I think that would have been a funny conversation, Phil.
Well, I think I've dapped a few times without really even knowing what the definition of the term is. If anybody out there knows, by the way, the full definition, I'm not going to go to Urban Dictionary and go with that one, but I would assume that's where the real definition is. What's a DAP? 877-377-6963, or what the definition comes to. We know exactly what a DAP is. So, I mean, he's referring to it, but he's also referring to the idea. Yeah, I mean, he starts with the idea. And by the way, Coach did sound a little bit defensive, just a little. You could hear in the tone of his voice. Take it from somebody who is a defensive person, like myself. And lovely lady will let me know that I do get defensive. Sometimes you got to walk it back. But I don't have a bunch of cameras in front of me when I'm answering those questions. And he did sound a little bit defensive. And so he sounded, I think he acknowledged that. And also the idea, yes, nobody wants to be 2-3 when the expectations were at the very worst. You'd be 3-2 going into your bye week. But obviously not the case. You wonder what the plays are that he's referring to. If you're 2-3 and he thinks they should be 4-1, then a couple of the losses out there shouldn't have happened. And maybe you're looking at last week against Texas A&M, where you end up falling just about 18 yards short, or maybe you're looking at San Jose State, in which honestly I don't know if I look at a couple of plays or one play in San Jose State as just more than anything. It was just the attitude the team came out with, feeling entitled to beat a lower division team because they were the Arkansas Razorbacks in the SEC. So, Ty, what plays do you think he's referring to? Which games do you think he's pointing out?
I think this year it's the San Jose State 4th and 2, the historical pick. I mean, there's the Scuda missing the tackle against Texas A&M that allowed the drive to continue. They would go on to kick a field goal and win that football game by 4 points. You have Burks lining up, Ron. Phil, this can be taken back to last year as well. You think about Ty Story trying to take on that cornerback at Ole Miss. He gets that concussion. He's out for the game. You think about Story's fumble against Alabama. Yes, that's a little less likely, the fact that they would have been able to compete, but they would have only been down by a touchdown if they had put it in the end zone. Ty Story's pick towards the end of the Texas A&M game last year. The Colorado State, what fans love to bring back up, is the fact that they wouldn't go for a 4th and 1 on the other side of the opponent's 50. And that's a point. But those are just some of the plays that stood out to me, not only this year, but last year as well, that I feel like if Chad Morris could have done it different, the game outcomes would have been different as well.
I still think that San Jose State game, it was all about attitude and coming out just not mentally ready to play. Mm-hmm. And you felt the same thing about Portland State. So potentially 1 or 2 plays against San Jose go differently, you win, but it's still, yes, maybe at that point you're 3-2 instead of 2-3. We'll step aside in a moment. We're brought to you today, as always, by our friends at Breeden RV in Van Buren, where great camping weather is just around the corner. So Breeden RV is having their year-end clearance sale right now. You'll get great deals on new RVs, travel trailers that start at $99.95, and fifth wheels that start under $30,000. Breeden RV, also the only dealer that gives new customers maintenance for life for free. Plus, Breeden RV has a great selection of pre-camp trailers and RVs to choose from. Right now is the time to camp at Breeden RV in Van Buren. They'll show you how easy it can be. Their home of maintenance for life.
Missed a segment or interview? Check out the Halftime Pod at hitthatline.com. This is the Morning Rush.
John, I love your passion, but I don't know what you're drinking this morning. Get rid of it. Tommy, drug test this guy. I don't know if that's a policy at the radio station.
It's going to become one.
But legitimately, there's got to be some psychiatric help that will reach out to you, John, and provide it as a service for some free advertising for the radio station.
Don't miss the Morning Rush. Weekdays from 6 till 9. Only on ESPN 95.3.
Want to do something scary? Really scary? It's Magic Screams at Magic Springs,
the scare capital of Arkansas.
3 haunted attractions, including the new Carnival number 9 in 3D.
Ride wicked thrill rides in the dark.
Plus, fun for kids means family fun by day, fright by night. September 28th through November 3rd. Park opens at noon. Magic Screams at Magic Springs, the scare capital of Arkansas. Buy discount tickets online for big savings.
60 is not that old, but when you're talking about a business, 60 proves you have the ability to keep your customers happy and change with the times. Guardtronic is celebrating their 60th year in business. Founded in 1959, Guardtronic has been securing homes all over the area for 60 years. Give them a call anytime. There's always someone there to get a free quote for securing your home. 785-2323 or guardtronic.com. Happy birthday, Guardtronic. License E050.
Spring is in the air. Not in the house, Dalton. Okay, AJ. Aw, snap, I told you not in the house. Red Kool-Aid all over the white carpet. Mom and Dad are gonna... Okay, AJ. I can't believe it. We're so in trouble. I told you so.
Thank you for calling Service Master Clean. This is Tanya. How can I help you?
Tanya, it's Dalton. For the clean you expect and the service you deserve. Think Service Master Clean. Visit us online at smcleanonline.com.
Got a mystery stain on the carpet and the kids insist they don't know what it is? Or you're just ready to give the house a good spring cleaning? Call Service Master Clean at 646-4087. Call today for spring specials.
Service Master Clean. For the clean you expect and the service you deserve. It's okay, AJ.
Tri-Hill Turf offers the highest quality turf and pest services. Hey, you say those are big words. Well, let's see. Tri-Hill Turf and Pest has a company agronomist, state and nationally certified technicians, free soil testing, and they even have precision GPS guided application equipment. Now that's high tech. For over 30 years, Tri-Hill Turf and Pest has used the latest application technology, and they strive for turf and pest excellence. They are your local turf and pest experts. Call the local team at 782-0404. Tri-Hill Turf and Pest.
Thank goodness that the fall season is upon us. And with this special time of year comes football, cooler weather, changing leaves, and free internet and phone service from Pinnacle Telecom. That's right. Switch your phone and internet service over to Pinnacle Telecom and get your first month free. Take advantage of Pinnacle Telecom's fast fiber internet and or hosted telephone service, and your first month's bill is on us. So let Pinnacle Telecom make your fall even better with this one-of-a-kind first month free promotion. Pinnacle Telecom, tomorrow's technology today.
Hey, Fort Smith, the Hampton Inn by Hilton was ranked in the top 10 Hampton hotels in the U.S., and their devotion to top-notch hospitality shows. With complimentary Wi-Fi, a free hot breakfast, and all of the bells and whistles you would expect, this newly renovated hotel has it all. They offer Hilton's digital key technology, meeting spaces, an indoor pool, and sports court. Hampton Inn by Hilton gives you everything you need for business or leisure travel. Give them a call at 479-452-2000 and see for yourself why the Hampton Inn is Fort Smith's best hotel.
ESPN 95.3. Touchdown! Halftime is brought to you by Supercuts, who supports local teams. Supercuts. We're super into the movement.
Yeah, they got it going on.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Davis, first down, a bunch more. There's one of those types of scores as he'll take it the distance. Touchdown, Arkansas. 62 yards.
A late night last night without really ever leaving the apartment. Had the Rays and A's wild card game on the TV. I finally put my YouTube TV on the Amazon Fire Stick. That was the one thing that was missing from the Fire Stick, Ty. They put the YouTube TV on that so I could put it on my bigger screen, watch Yandy Diaz come out of nowhere and light up the A's with a couple of home runs. And then I started my halftime homework, which was the identity theft of Mitch Mustaine, which, by the way, I didn't finish it last night, and that led to a very interesting experience this morning in preparation for the show. Something I guess I'll get into later on in the second hour for halftime homework. But I mixed together the identity theft of Mitch Mustaine, in which none of the coaches that he was involved in ever speak on camera, nor did his mom. But he's in it, throughout the entire documentary, obviously, And I listened to the latest Hog Pod with Bo Mattingly, which is Houston Nutt. I mean, that was a very, very interesting experience, intermingling these two stories. Because I'll get into it later in the second hour for halftime homework. But boy, do these stories weave together.
Yeah, and there's a lot of conflicting things that are said in both the Hog Pod and the identity theft of Mitch Mustaine. Because I, similar to you, watched it. That would have been Friday. Yeah, it was Friday night. I watched it on Friday night. I listened to the Hog Pod on Thursday. So those conflicting ideas, conflicting words that are said about each other, when you have them back-to-back, similar to what you did this morning, yeah, it's something, Phil, for sure.
And the really funny thing that brings it all together, I guess more interesting, is that there's one guy that brings the two things together, and it's Bo Mattingly. He used to be on these airwaves and is doing a great job with the Hog Pod. But, I mean, he is heavily featured in the documentary, and, of course, he's doing the Hog Pod, and he's got, two of different things to say about Houston Nutt in both situations. Very, very interesting experience. Again, we'll get into it later on. Today, you got the division series beginning in the National League. The Cardinals and the Braves got former Razorback Dallas Keuchel pitching for Atlanta, and the Nationals and the Dodgers at Dodger Stadium with Patrick Corbin and Walker Buehler. The Dodgers obviously expected to come out of the National League. I still want to stick with the Braves. We'll get into some of that later on as well. All right, so Chad Morris did speak with SEC media yesterday during the weekly scheduled SEC teleconference. And I guess we did ask about this yesterday because Nick Starkel did get back into full practice mode Tuesday. Had a sleeve on his left arm. Of course, he took that big hit from Justin Madubuike, the big 300-pound defensive tackle for Texas A&M that picked Starkel off right at the goal line and then trucked him and knocked Starkel out of the game the rest of the way. So, but apparently Starkel's fine, and I guess you could just chalk it up to one big hit that he couldn't feel his arm. And here's what Chad Morris said about how Starkel's doing now.
Yeah, Nick was back out there yesterday. Had gained all the strength back in his arm or in his hand, and he worked out all day through, and would nothing lead me to believe that he wouldn't be back 100% ready to go for next week.
Again, I mentioned this yesterday, or actually I guess it was on Monday. That was a little surprising, the fact that he was out there and back, because, again, he couldn't grip the football with his left hand on Saturday. And for this turnaround to be so sudden, yes, you're excited about that, whether your family members, your friends, or your Razorback fan in general, because you don't want any of your players to be injured. But it was kind of a quick turnaround for him. So that's good for him. And, again, it begs the question next Saturday, and I know we're a long way out, still got a little more than a week. What happens if he struggles? What happens if he throws an interception or the drive stall, or he just isn't getting the offense going? In the back of Chad Morris's mind, even though he said Nick's our starter, after Ben Hicks' performance against A&M, does he have that lingering feeling that he should give Ben Hicks a chance in the second half, similar to what he did with Nick Starkel in the Ole Miss game, Phil?
Well, in Morris's mind, he's got to know that if you make a change early, or really even after just a half against Kentucky, or maybe even any time throughout the month of October, at that point you're going to have a full-blown quarterback controversy on your hands. And again, it's all about who they feel is more suited to lead the offense. And before game one, the feeling obviously was Ben Hicks, and after the first half of game two, the feeling was Nick Starkel. And based upon what we saw last year too, with two quarterbacks that admittedly weren't up to snuff in the SEC, it was the same thing, back and forth for a while, and never really settled in on somebody until about midway through October. So who knows? You watch things, and Starkel still seems like he'd be the guy, but the questionable decisions inside the 20-yard line and not even just inside the 20-yard line. I mean, you saw that against San Jose State, forcing some things. That does make you scratch your head a little bit. So Chad Morris also spoke to injury issues with his team. Kentucky's dealing with major injury issues, and Arkansas is dealing with the same sort of stuff, maybe not major in some cases, but the sort of nagging injuries that are potentially keeping some of the best players off the field. And right now, wide receiver, if you had a game this Saturday, you'd be pretty nervous about your wide receiver setup because both Trey Knox and Mike Woods, who are dealing with hip injuries, were wearing yellow jerseys yesterday. And Morris equated the yellow jersey to essentially not practicing. The green jersey is you're good to go outside of what Chad Morris called good-on-good contact. So, again, good time for a bye week. I guess any time during a football season can be good for a bye week because there's always going to be injuries. But Arkansas now getting thin at wide receiver, Ty. So, boy, this week gives Woods and Knox a chance to heal, because I would imagine you need those two players on the field against SEC teams.
Yeah, absolutely. Some other guys that were absent from practice yesterday, whether it was Scotty Bordelon or Pete Roulier that are writing about this. You mentioned Mike Woods and Trey Knox. TQ Jackson won there. McTelvin Agim won there. Colton Jackson, Ty Clary, Chase Hayden. TJ Hammond's had a wrap on his ankle, but you're hoping some of these guys, even who are in limited participation, like Cheyenne O'Grady, Rakeem Boyd, Jordan Jones, who's still trying to work his way back, Davion Warren, who's coming off that concussion, Gabe Richardson, Zach Williams. You're hoping some of these guys can get healthy during this bye week, that nothing happens during practice leading up to that game in Lexington, Phil.
So I read a little bit about Kentucky's situation with what's going on to their quarterbacks, and Mark Stoops is hopeful that Sawyer Smith, the transfer from Troy that took over for Terry Wilson after his knee injury against it wasn't against Florida, that was the week before. Smith got injured against Florida, looked pretty bad against South Carolina. A lot of that because of a shoulder injury that he suffered the week before against Mississippi State. And they had to go to wide receiver Lynn Bowden at quarterback for the final drive, which got Kentucky their only score of the entire game in Columbia against the Gamecocks. So Arkansas dealing with some injuries. Right now it doesn't seem that one of those injuries is at quarterback. And then there's Kentucky that is dealing with the defense that hasn't been as good as expected, a running game that has slowed down significantly in the last couple of weeks. And three of their quarterbacks, they had a freshman that might have played but is injured. 3 of their quarterbacks hurt. One of those could still play, but probably would still be dealing with an injury to the shoulder at the same time. And right now, I'm not sure if Mark Stoops knows which way is up as far as his quarterback situation is concerned. All right, let's go to our Cherokee Casino hotline. First man up today is Eddie in Clarksville. Eddie, we can give you a couple of minutes. We got hard breaks now in the show, something we started this week. So we can give you 2 minutes, and you are on the air.
Eddie, there, buddy?
Or not.
I guess he lost him. Oh, well.
I guess we lost. Eddie's had some issues with the phone service. What's going on in Clarksville these days?
I don't know, man. He's had some trouble lately. I don't know what the deal is. But, yeah, Phil, you're talking about the quarterback situation for Kentucky. First it's Terry Wilson, and then Sawyer Smith has been dealing with kind of the injuries he suffered. Didn't look great in their last outing against South Carolina. You have Lynn Bowden come in, scores their only touchdown. I mean, that's one of those things where you could but just I know that Arkansas is dealing with injuries as well, but you got to take advantage of the fact that Kentucky's quarterback situation is fluid right now, and there's no guy, that like go-to guy that they have. Bowden was an incredible high school athlete, incredible quarterback in high school, but you don't know if he can really throw the football at the college level. I know his introduction to SEC football is at home against U, probably the worst SEC team right now. U, Vanderbilt, Tennessee, take your pick, but you hope that similar to Texas A&M, you can get after him a little bit, frustrate him, scare him. I know he's athletic. You got to, at the same time, contain him, but that needs to be a huge implementation of what John Chavis is going over with his defense this weekend. And then if Sawyer Smith ends up playing in the game as well, then you got to be ready for him as well. You can't be ready for just one guy. And they have one, is it Wood? I think it's Walker Wood.
Wood.
Yeah, Walker Wood's their other guy. So you got to prepare for up to 3 quarterbacks, I feel like. Well, I mean, Stoops said on his coach's show that anything was on the table for quarterbacks. So I know John Chavis, with this extra week of preparation, it's going to be good because they're probably going to have to prepare for a number of different guys that'll be in that backfield on Saturday, Phil, Saturday.
So Ty sat down to do his halftime homework last night and watched The Naked Gun, but he also sent me at the same time a photo of what his mini fridge looks like, and it is stocked with ice-cold Coors Light.
Lots of Coors Light because it is the most refreshing beer, cold lagered, cold filtered, cold packaged. It's got the cold activated can, so you know when the mountains turn blue, it's as cold as the Rockies. Phil, what do you always do when the mountains turn blue?
You pull out 2.
You go for 2. Coors Light, made to chill.
Mac Brown apparently enjoys a cold Coors Light as well at the end of a chance to beat the top-ranked Clemson Tigers. We got a chance to take on Bob Holt from the Democrat Gazette, so stick around right after the break.
Missed a segment or interview? Check out the Halftime Pod at hitthatline.com.
Looking for a new home course this golf season? Eagle Crest Golf Course has memberships as low as $83 a month for Zoysia fairways and bent grass greens. Is your whole golf group ready to join Eagle Crest? 4 new members can join for just $1,150 each for the entire year. Individual annual memberships are just $1,250 a year. Call Eagle Crest Golf Course right now for all the details. 632-8857. That's 632-8857. Eagle Crest Golf Course, Highway 64, just east of Alma.
Right now, I'm holding a perfectly ice-cold Coors Light. You know how I know it's the perfect temperature? Because the mountain on the can is blue. And also, it's really cold. Every Coors Light is cold filtered, cold lagered, and cold packaged. Notice how many times I said cold? 3 times. It's that cold. So make sure the mountain on your can of Coors Light is blue, because that means it's ready to enjoy. 2019 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Celebrate responsibly.
Hey, this is Ted with Ed Walker's Drive-In. For more than 70 years, Ed Walker's has been the place to go for the best French dips and hand-patted hamburgers in town. Blue Plate Specials served Monday through Friday, and we're still the home of Fort Smith's only 5-pound hamburger. We're open 10 a.m. to midnight, 7 days a week. Call ahead for pickup, 783-3352. Ed Walker's Drive-In, 1500 Towson Avenue in Fort Smith, where the legend lives on.
Look your best with Perfecto Cleaners at the bottom of Fiena Hills. Count on same-day service, easy drive-through covered drop-off and pickup window, and fast turnaround on alterations. Perfecto Cleaners always goes the extra mile to ensure your clothes look their best, making you look your best. Be sure to clip their coupons in the yellow pages, and as always, in by 9 and out by 5 Monday through Friday. Perfecto Cleaners, just off Jenny Lind at the bottom of Fiena Hills. Perfecto Cleaners, making you look your best.
There's never been a better time to switch to Sprint Unlimited and enjoy a great wireless plan at an amazing price. For a limited time, make the switch to Sprint and get your 3rd, 4th, and 5th lines free. That means 5 lines of unlimited for just $20 per month per line. That's a savings of more than $1,000 your first year over Verizon and AT&T. Hurry to a Sprint store, visit sprint.com/unlimited, or call 800-SPRINT-1. Make the switch to Sprint today and get your 3rd, 4th, and 5th lines free. That's 5 lines of unlimited for just $20 per month per line from Sprint, a network built for unlimited. This is a limited time offer, so act now.
After 1/31/2020, pay $32 per month per line for 5 lines of unlimited basic with autopay. Savings compared to Verizon Go Unlimited and AT&T Unlimited and more for 5 lines. Features differ. Coverage and offer not available everywhere. Excludes taxes, fees, and roaming. Subject to credit and $30 activation fee. Speed maximums, use rules, and restrictions apply.
ESPN 95.3. You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Back to pass, Grovey. Quarterback draw. He's got a hole. He may go. He's at the 5. Touchdown, Arkansas.
We are efforting Bob Holt. Bob said he did have an interview that he was anticipating ending a little bit after 12 o'clock, but as things can happen in sports media and really in life in general, things can change pretty quickly, so things might have changed, and we'll effort getting Bob on when the chance arises. Here on Halftime, Phil Elson, Ty Richardson, and there's something we weren't able to get to yesterday, Ty, that's a pretty interesting thing. I mean, it's not an apologist thing to say that Arkansas is just an inexperienced team and that's got a ton of youth. So you could say yes, you've got 53 freshmen on the roster, but how many of those freshmen are going to see real, legitimate playing time? Turns out Arkansas's got more than any team in the country, save for one, as far as freshmen that are starting. 5 freshmen starting for the University of Arkansas. And what were the other schools? I think Alabama's also got 5. And UMass, the Minutemen, not one of the powerful programs in the country, has was it 5 or did the Minutemen have 6?
I think it went Bama, UMass, and then Arkansas. I'm trying to find the article. Okay, Saturday Down South put it out because Bruce Feldman was the one that tweeted. Actually, probably be quicker if I went to his Twitter account. But I think it goes to show you, outside of Alabama, who's starting 2 freshmen at linebacker right now, and I know there's a couple other positions where they have freshmen, but that's talent and coaching, man, and they've got both on Arkansas right now. There's no question about that. And there were very few teams inside of the top 10. One of the other teams, only other SEC team-wise in the top 10 with the most starting freshmen was Tennessee. Well, what's Tennessee doing right now? They're sucking. It's very rare.
Well, Tennessee's getting trounced. That's a difference. I mean, getting trounced by Florida 34-3. I know they did have a couple of close losses to open the season, so maybe I'm just taking an instance of them playing against a pretty good team in Florida as an indication. I guess we'll find out. We'll find out this week because they get to take on the Georgia Bulldogs, so we'll see if Tennessee can hang or if they'll get trounced again.
All right, so here's the list. This is, again, from Bruce Feldman, who writes for The Athletic, really good college football reporter. Alabama's at 1 with UMass. They're tied at 7. Stanford is 3rd with 6. Arkansas is 4 with 5, along with ASU, Fresno State, University of Southern California, the Vols, and TCU, and then UTSA are 4. So there's a lot of, again, there's 4 true freshman starters by Arizona State, Fresno State, USC, Tennessee, TCU, UTSA, and then again, Arkansas is number 4 on that list. So there's not a lot of good teams on that list. Alabama stands out. UMass, I think, is 1-3. Stanford's not having a great year. Arizona State, they also stand out. They're having a pretty solid year. Fresno State, USC, not really. Vols, terrible year. TCU, they've only lost one game to SMU, and then UTSA, I don't believe, was having a good year either. So just, you can get away with it in college basketball. We've talked about that numerous times, how it's easier to translate your game from a high school basketball stage to the college stage. The same doesn't apply for football. Like, it's very rare that you see a true freshman, regardless of any position, have immediate and moreover dominant impact. That just doesn't happen that often. Now, there are case-by-case examples, whether it's Trevor Lawrence, whether it's Jadeveon Clowney. I mean, there's, I think Myles Garrett had a pretty good impact. There's some, but it's not just over the top where there's example after example after example, Phil.
You know, into the sport that I cover with Arkansas baseball, I mean, a freshman pitching staff is going to struggle more so than, you know, a lineup that's got a few freshmen sprinkled in there, but it does affect the baseball team too. You know, and with the Razorback football team, the five freshmen, you got Trey Knox and Trey Burke, so that's Traylon Burke, so that's two of your wide receivers, but they also happen to be the most productive freshman duo of wide receivers in the country right now. And so, I mean, that appears to be, yes, it is a position of strength. Ricky Stromberg at right guard. And I know Stromberg has been graded pretty well on the basis of just being a lineman overall, and then you take into account he's a true freshman and has had some pretty good moments this year. Mateo Soli at the defensive line. And Soli, I mean, I guess it looks like he's starting to come in a little bit, but I think playing with that big club on his right hand is going to limit him at least a little.
Yep.
And then nickelback Greg Brooks Jr. It's the nickelback position. It's that spot in the secondary where you can really be exposed. And I know, the defensive line has had some real positives this year. The secondary, and this is something we got into yesterday, you know, I mean, they've already intercepted the ball 5 times. That's as many interceptions as Arkansas had last year, and already more interceptions from the secondary than you had last year, because I think Dre Greenlaw led Arkansas in interceptions last season. So there's that. So, I mean, they are going after the ball, making some plays. But, I mean, also, if I remember here, let me look at my notes. I mean, they're one of the worst teams in the country as far as pass coverage is concerned. So, I mean, you're going to get these you're going to get some of these extremes. You know, and I think we're going to start to see a freshman get a little more playing time. I saw where Jalen Catalon, the safety, I think he's been on the field for just a handful of plays, might get some more playing time moving forward. That was the defender, I guess, of all the freshmen that we heard during camp more than anybody else. Maybe it was because his interception return for a touchdown in that one practice was followed by John Chavis sprinting down the sideline, and everybody made a big deal about that. But I feel like where's Jalen Catalon been? And, you know, that again, if he gets some more playing time, then it's just another freshman getting more playing time with an inexperienced team.
And Phil, you know this more than I do. When coaches speak to particular players, particularly young players, you have to take what they say with a grain of salt, because all we heard this offseason was about how John Stephen Jones was sticking the ball in the end zone.
Right.
And correct me, he hasn't played it down this season.
Yes, he's held a mighty clipboard this season.
That's what I'm saying. So you just have to be aware that just because a coach says something about a particular player, and again, you know this more than I do, you've been doing this a lot longer, you have to just hone in a little bit, like pump the brakes. You can't just buy into everything they said. You rarely hear a coach during the offseason absolutely blast, criticize, highly critique someone. It's more positives and negatives than anything else. And I was thinking about this the other day. So these young freshmen that we've talked about, whether it's Traylon Burks, Trey Knox, some of these young defensive linemen, just playmakers, they built on the idea that Chad Morris is going to turn this program around, because yes, there are a few of them that are from Arkansas and they're bought into being a Razorback. They've wanted to be a Razorback for quite some time. Soli's a legacy. You got one or two others that have connections specifically with the University of Arkansas. But for those out there, and it's kind of died down a little bit because we've hit the bye week that want Chad Morris gone, that want Chad Morris out of this program, which, again, it's died down a lot, and I don't think that's a realization that you could actually come to at this point. Who's to say those players wouldn't just get up and transfer and either follow Chad? I mean, we saw Mike Woods follow Chad from SMU to there, and I'm not saying the entire group of them would get up and follow Chad Morris to his next coaching position, but there's no guarantee, especially in the changing waves of NCAA transfers, that you could keep things going with another coach. So people always have to be, and ADs know this, Hunter Yurchek knows this a lot more than I do when it comes to making decisions, and there's so much more that he has to go into that. But the idea that you can just fire Chad Morris and flip the program like that is not true, Phil. And again, I don't even know, and I'm bringing it up that we're having this conversation at this point, but these players have bought in the idea of Chad Morris. And I know you're ticked off about San Jose State. I know you're ticked off about that you didn't really show up against Ole Miss, but these players are still right now, to this point, based on what you saw against Texas A&M, they still got some dog left in them. They still got some fight left in them. We'll see if Chad Morris can turn that into W's, because that's going to be essential, you know that, if he turns it around at Arkansas.
877-377-6963 for a call or a text. That'll get you with us here on Halftime. Brought to you by 906 Cocktail and Cigar Lounge at 906 Garrison Avenue. It's where you can treat your appetite on the avenue as well as having a great evening out. They got a top chef on staff coming up with lunch and light dinner items that you won't find anywhere else in the River Valley, like the Chicken Pyro or the Cubana, or wings that are jumbo and roasted with honey bacon jam plus salads, flatbreads, and desserts, coffees for lunch or dinner, and then it's all in an atmosphere that feels less like a lounge and more like a destination. Plus, of course, what makes them famous, top shelf wines and liquors, premium beers, and the most popular brands of cigars available in the state. You'll find them on Facebook for specials and events. That's 906 Cocktail and Cigar Lounge. Open segment coming up next here on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson. Follow them on Twitter at Phil Elson PXP and at Ty Sports Radio.
Frank Rowe Furniture.
Made in the USA Furniture.
Frank Rowe Furniture.
Made in the USA Speed Queen Washer and Dryers.
Frank Rowe Furniture.
In-store, no credit check financing.
Frank Rowe Furniture.
0 down and 0 interest with approved credit.
Frank Rowe Furniture.
Family owned and no high-pressure sales staff.
Frank Rowe Furniture.
Find us on Facebook and Instagram. 405 Fort Street, Barling, Arkansas. Your Made in the USA headquarters.
Best seats in the house.
Your fence is more than a decoration. It's a reflection of its owner. Choosing a fence company should be done with integrity and quality in mind. The Fence Man has been providing fencing and security solutions for over 40 years. An in-house custom iron and gate department, plus an access control department. The Fence Man offers services other companies aren't equipped to do. The Fence Man, fencing and security solutions to protect what matters most. 479-782-3936 or online at thefencemancompany.com, a division of Quantum Property Services.
If you have experience transporting frozen and refrigerated goods and want to be part of a trucking family with insurance and be home every week, you need to contact Brent Higgins Trucking. Since 1997, Brent Higgins Trucking in Mulberry has been proudly delivering to and from various areas of the United States, including but not limited to Oklahoma, Texas, Louisiana, and Mississippi. Brent Higgins Trucking, where you're a name, not a number. Call them at 479-997-2366 or log on to BrentHigginsTrucking.com.
Guys, nobody wants to paint, but to stay on the good side's better half, there's no choice. 5 Star Painting of Fort Smith is a professional company that does residential and commercial painting. They do it all: interior, exterior, refinishing cabinets, fences, and decks, even some light carpentry. From the time you call for your free estimate to the attention they give to you in detail, you will be satisfied. It's guaranteed, and 5 Star Painting of Fort Smith owner Sean Weidman has been in the area for years, so you know it's all about a great reputation. Make mama happy and everyone's happy. 5 Star Painting of Fort Smith, licensed, insured, and bonded for trust. Go to 5starpainting.com/Fort Smith and get that honeydew done.
Sundays, Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays are all about football. And TGI Fridays in Fort Smith has all-day specials every game day. TGI Fridays has the game on and all your favorite beers, drinks, and appetizers, including $2 draft beers, $5 pitchers, and $3 specialty drinks. Plus delicious appetizers like loaded cheese fries, boneless wings, skillet queso, and lots more for only $5. Football, food, and fun all day long. If it's game day, it's TGI Fridays, I-540 and Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith.
Fall has arrived. Back to school, football games, hunting season, and we know that you don't have the time to deal with an auto accident. Let Evans Body Shop help you through the process from beginning to end. Our caring office staff will take care of the insurance details, and our dedicated shop crew will make sure that your vehicle is repaired properly and beautifully, and that you are back on the road in no time. Come meet us today and see why we say we meet the nicest people by accident.
Visit with us at 412 Gordon Avenue in Van Buren, just off Fayetteville Road.
Evans Body Shop, where we meet the nicest people by accident.
Archery season is underway, and black powder season is just days away. Angelco Outdoors has all your black powder rifles and supplies to get you ready for your hunt. Brands like CVA, Traditions, and Thompson Center. Stop by Jelco Outdoors, your premier locally owned sporting goods store in the River Valley for all your fall hunting gear. Shop local. Shop Jelco Outdoors. And remember, a great hunt begins at Jelco Outdoors.
When was the last time you looked forward to seeing the dentist? Well, if it's been a while or you haven't had the best of experience with dentistry, meet Marcy Van Ash McKinney in Family Dentistry. They take care of it all. Crowns, bonding, dentures, bleaching, and cosmetic dentistry. They even offer oral consciousness sedation available for your comfort. That's Marcy Van Ash McKinney Family Dentistry at 807 South 21st. Call for an appointment today, 494-7600. That's 494-7600.
ESPN 95.3. Touchdown! Halftime is brought to you by Supercuts, who supports local teams. Supercuts. We're super into the movement.
Yeah, they got it going on.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
And off Hillis. Peyton Hillis. Being chased, but will not be caught. 65-yard touchdown.
Well, Bob Holt did get with us during the commercial break. He legitimately had something better to do, which I don't give him any guff about. So let's bring him on here. Bob was speaking to Arkansas head basketball coach Eric Musselman. So we seem to get you at the right time when it comes to something going on there involving Barnhill. Bob, how's it going today? And thanks so much for dialing back up with us.
Oh, sure. Yeah, it's going well. Beautiful day here in Fayetteville. Nice sunny day.
So was this a one-on-one with the head coach of Arkansas basketball, or were there other media members that got to steal your questions and answers?
No, it was an interview. I got this set up for a story I'll be working on later for some later stuff.
Okay, so it's kind of a preview perhaps. So let me ask this. There was a really great video that Arkansas basketball put out on their Twitter feed yesterday, and I guess it's on the website too. It's like a 4-minute clip or 3.5 minutes, and it gave you a feel of what Eric Musselman is like at practice. And we've heard about Eric Musselman's practices, how they are kind of like an organized chaos, and I know he himself seems like a very intense person that maybe organized chaos describes him as well. So what's he like on a one-on-one interview?
He's great. He's great to talk to. I mean, from a media person's standpoint, I mean, to me, he gives you really good, complete answers, but he doesn't, get off topic or kind of drone on, as sometimes people tend to do. I probably tend to do it. But he gives you really good and insightful answers. He's a really well-rounded guy. I mean, very broad-minded, I think. He knows a lot of things. And just talking to him, it's really amazing the different connections to the Arkansas program. Now, he mentioned this. We didn't talk about this today, but he mentioned previously that when his dad was a coach at the University of Minnesota, he recruited Sidney Moncrief. Moncrief actually visited up there, and it snowed in September, and I doubt if Sidney would have gone to Minnesota anyway. But, that's just an interesting thing. He talked about how Arkansas is one of his favorite programs growing up because of the triplets, even though he never been to Arkansas or anything. So he's got a lot of interesting connections to Arkansas. A couple more that I found out about today. But no, he's a really engaging interview. He's just really what we would say in the business, a really good quote, good storyteller, and it was really fun talking with him.
I know he really hadn't spent much time, if any, in the state, other than coming in as an LSU assistant. But if you just dropped yourself into Arkansas as a transplant today and started paying attention to Arkansas basketball, and you didn't know anything about him, you'd think he'd almost grown up here with the respect that he openly has for the basketball program's history and where he'd like to take it. So I guess it just seems like he really dove in head first and to not just being the head coach at Arkansas basketball, but being a part of something that is bigger than I think anything that maybe he even anticipated.
Yeah, I think he's come in and he's obviously his main thing is to coach the team and win games and recruit. Those are the main two things you do is coach the team and recruit real well. So you have players to coach to win games, but I also think he realizes in this day and age the marketing aspect of a job like this. Not that obviously Arkansas's got a good fan base. They've got really good facilities. They draw well, but frankly, they could draw better. They could be out there more. I mean, social media has become such a big part of athletics now, college athletics, and so he's on Twitter a lot, and you see him posing for pictures with recruits coming in, and I think he's 54. I mean, I'd say he's a young 54, but he's not going to sit there and say, well, hey, I'm the head coach at Arkansas, and I've been an NBA head coach, and so I'm not going to pose for these funny pictures with these recruits. It's like, no, man, this is what kids nowadays are into. We're going to have fun with it. This is going to get a lot of good play on social media. Other recruits are going to see it. And so, and my guys saw they're going to give away a Pac-Man game, arcade game to some student at the red-white game. I guess you'd do a raffle or something. So just things like that, and just the whole idea of having this game in Barnhill. I think he really has a good understanding of the marketing aspect for college athletics. Now, even at a school like Arkansas or Alabama football, for that matter, you need to market today because people have a whole lot of choices for entertainment dollar. And you want to make sure that they decide, coming to your games and watching your teams play is part of their entertainment.
Boy, I think they really should have maybe thought about giving away a Rubik's Cube as well. Ty, do you know anything about Pac-Man? You ever play Pac-Man, or is that a generational gap thing?
I don't have to press it. I played Pac-Man back in the day. Now, there used to be a fascination for us young folk when we were growing up with arcade games, and I think it's died down a little bit. But Bob, Phil, I played Pac-Man, I played Galaga, I played Donkey Kong, I played some of those games that y'all played back in the day.
Okay, very good.
Okay. So, Bob, we're talking with Bob Holt on the Cherokee Casino Hotline here on Halftime. Bob, one of the things that's happening right now is the football team's not good. Let's just be frank about it. They're not good. Until they start winning games, there's going to be a groan from the fan base. And what that's doing is we have people texting us every single week. When's basketball season? Joking, when's basketball season? Does that put pressure on Eric Musselman's team for this year? Does it add pressure, or is it just going to be the same regardless of what happens with this football team?
Well, yeah, I think it always adds pressure to the basketball season when the football team struggles. Obviously, the football team struggled last year, but yeah, I think people are always looking for kind of another team to support when that particular the season that you're in, that team is struggling. Vice versa, if the football team's struggling, then let's say the football team's doing well, the basketball team's struggling, then people are more into the baseball season, or maybe they're more into who the football team's going to play in the bowl game than they are the basketball season starting up. So, yeah, I think there's definitely puts pressure on. It's not so much specific to Eric and this team. It's more just I think if you're like an SEC now, if you're Kentucky and the basketball team's struggling, that probably puts pressure on the football team no matter what they're doing. But in North Carolina or Duke or whatever. But yeah, I think it definitely, because people, they're turning their attention to basketball earlier. They're kind of putting their hopes into basketball. You've got a new coach. There's a lot of excitement. He's got an NBA background. He had great success at Nevada, and so yeah, I think without a doubt, people, it puts pressure on the basketball program to win and deliver for the fans because they want them to be able to cheer about.
So, Bob, we just started our countdown for Arkansas basketball. Yesterday was 34 days out. Had a Corliss Williamson highlight. Today is 33 days. Going to use something from Marshawn Powell, maybe sprinkling some Moses Keenley. I was thinking about yesterday when posting the highlight for Corliss Williamson. The first thing that popped in my head was the Duke and one where he gets the rebound over Cherokee Parks in the national championship. Jeff Capel, a freshman at the time, fouls him, and he puts up an one, and then all his teammates celebrate. Is there another highlight in his career? And I know there's so many of them, but is there another one that really stands out to you for him, for Corliss's career at Arkansas?
Well, he had so many moments. He had so many big games. I don't know if it's hard to say just one play that stands out. I do remember talking to Rob Evans, who was the Ole Miss coach, and he was later an assistant here, and I remember talking to him about Corliss one time, and he said Ole Miss came in to play, and I guess they got her early, and Corliss was this is when the weight room was, they had a weight room right near the visiting locker room, and it had glass windows so you could see in there, and I remember Rob told me he saw Corliss in there pumping iron and working up a sweat, and he was like thinking, oh, my God, he's going to kill us tonight or whatever. But, yeah, as far as a moment in a game, I don't know. Corliss just had – I do remember they were the year they won the championship. Of course, they beat Tulsa. I believe it was in the Sweet 16 in Dallas. I think it was the Sweet 16 game. That's when Tubby Smith coached at Tulsa. And earlier that year, they'd had to go to play Tulsa at Tulsa and won in overtime. And I couldn't recite Corliss' stats back to you, but I just remember he had a big game, and I think really helped carry him in overtime. But that's kind of sad. I can't think more specifically about plays Corliss made, but he just was so good. He was just so good and consistent every game to me.
Bob, we got a couple of minutes left, but let me change the conversation briefly while we have the chance. In this California law, the Fair Play Act, just wanted to get your idea on something I brought up yesterday. So potentially, people think that this could be the quote unquote beginning of the end of the NCAA. And my whole thing is, there'll be something that replaces that, or that takes the reality of college sports and makes it less chaotic, or that there will be some sort of regulation upon it. So my thought is, if it is the beginning of the end of the NCAA, what's so bad about that?
Well, I mean, you need to have a governing body, I think, and some rules and regulations. That could take different forms. You could have the Power 5 conferences could kind of have their own governing bodies, not to minimize the mid-majors, but I know that there's been some talk of the Power 5s kind of pulling away and doing their own thing, because you're kind of talking about apples and oranges in terms of level of competition. Although I think the Power 5, unless they want to play an entire Power 5 schedule, which I know Nick Saban has advocated that, but if you don't want to play a Power 5 team every week, because that's tough to do, the mid-majors, they've obviously proven they can beat the Power 5 teams, but also that it helps the schedule for the Power 5 to be able to play some mid-majors, because they don't have to return those games. And then it helps the mid-majors because they get nice financial guarantees, and they also get a free shot at a Power 5 team. So I think that's a good dynamic for college football, honestly. But, I think you're always going to need rules and regulations, whether it's, pro sports or college sports. And I don't know if this has to be the end of the NCAA. And, of course, the NCAA is really what the colleges make it. They're all the members of the NCAA. I know people kind of look at the NCAA as this big, archaic, company or whatever you want to call it, I guess institution. But really, it's what the college's members, vote to make it. But I don't see why you couldn't reward players financially for their likenesses and endorsements and things like that. To me, it would be a reallocation of funds, because you got boosters and fans that are donating money that they're using for facilities or different things.
We'll have to cut you off, Bob, because we're coming up against the break. Sorry about that. We appreciate you joining us, as always, and thanks for calling us back. We'll come back for the second hour next. Stick around.
Great camping weather is just around the corner, so at Breeden RV in Van Buren, we're having our year-end clearance sale right now. Get great deals on new RVs like travel trailers that start at $99.95 and fifth wheels starting under $30,000. Breeden RV is the only dealer that gives our new customers maintenance for life for free. We also have a great selection of pre-camp trailers and RVs to choose from. Now is the time to camp, and now is the time to let Breeden RV in Van Buren show you just how easy it can be. Breeden RV, your home for maintenance for life.
Oh, that's an RV.
We've invented a new messaging system using the crisp sounds of Bud Light. Crisp Code, Football Edition. This is how you say, game tonight. Bring Bud Light. Fantasy fees are due. That's it for today.
Brewed with no corn syrup. Bud Light, crisp. Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
The Catfish Kitchen at the top of Logtown Hill in Van Buren has lunch specials every weekday from 11 till 2, starting at only $7.99. Try the 3-piece catfish filet dinner with hand-cut fries and all the fixins. It's only $11.29. And the Catfish Kitchen is more than catfish. Try their shrimp dinners, cooked any way you like it. Chicken tenders, crab cakes, or one of their po' boy sandwiches. The Catfish Kitchen, open Tuesday through Sunday, 11 till 9, at 727 Fayetteville Road at the top of Logtown Dogtown Hill, across from the police station in Van Buren.
Locally owned Lumber One can handle all of your building needs. They've built their business on having great relationships with everybody from contractors and builders to the everyday build-it-yourself. Lumber One is a full-line door shop to handle all of your door, window, and trim needs. And along with lumber, roofing and drywall products, attic wall and floor insulation is available. Lumber One also does blueprint takeoff with access to design services with estimates available. So go where the pros go. Lumber One, located on Industrial Park Road in Van Buren. Elite Roofing is a locally owned roofing contractor. If you're building a new home or maybe need a new roof on your existing home, Elite Roofing can take care of you. Elite Roofing is known for their dependability and reliability. Just ask any of their satisfied customers. They are licensed and insured, and references are available upon request. If you need a roof, call your local roofing contractors. Elite Roofing, 478-8668. That's 478-8668. Elite Roofing, 478-8668.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
Mainly clear sky tonight. Overnight low mid-60s north. We'll see the low 70s south. Sunny skies with us on Thursday. Our high temperatures will be in the upper 70s north and then falling through the low to mid-80s south. Lots of sunshine. Our high temperatures in the low to mid-80s Friday. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
Weather is brought to you by Harry Robinson Buick GMC, where you always get more for your trade. Exit 11 off I-540 in Fort Smith. You can shop anytime at harryrobinson.com.
Proceed. KERX Paris Fort Smith. This is Halftime, coming at you from the Bush and Bushlight Studios on ESPN 95.3.
It's what I always listen to.
Good morning, Vietnam!
Broadcasting live from the Bud Light Studio.
I love Arkansas. I love everything here. Give me that thing here. Woo!
On your favorite Arkansas sports talk station.
Why did that happen in Fayetteville, Arkansas? Dixon Street. It'll get you.
Streaming live from
Hit that line.
.com.
You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
This is Halftime.
Man, that ball got out of here in a hurry.
With Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Phil, you're one of the best baseball announcers in the country, and Ty, you're one of the best up-and-coming young talents in the broadcasting industry. You really do your homework.
See ya, D-Mac. Hold on, Matt Ryan. D-Mac not looking back. Touchdown. How about that Heisman, Mark Jones? How do you like it? Wide open again.
All right, hold on. It's almost halftime.
Appreciate you sticking around with us on Halftime as we get into our second hour on a Thursday on a bye week. Phil Elson here, ESPN Arkansas Studios, covered up by our friend Ty Richardson. And we'll get into it quickly here in a shorter segment than normally. It is time for Halftime Homework.
As if.
I don't trust this kid any further than I could throw him.
I got a question. Does Barry Manilow know that you raid his wardrobe?
Get out of my class.
Out! Get out!
I was still thinking of going back to school. It's just a movie from the 80s.
I am dangerous.
It's time for Halftime Homework, presented by Breeden RV and Power Sports.
As soon as the heat breaks, camping weather is just around the corner. So at Breeden RV in Van Buren, they're having their year-end clearance sale right now. Great deals are available on new RVs, travel trailers starting at $99.95, and fifth wheels starting under $30,000. Breeden RV, also the only dealer that gives new customers maintenance for life for free. Breeden RV also has a great selection of pre-camp trailers and RVs to choose from, and now is the time to camp, so let Breeden RV in Van Buren show you just how easy it can be. Their home of maintenance for life. Start a new adventure at BreedenRVs.com. All right, my halftime homework, I blended it, and you didn't really even assign me the Hog Pod episode, which is still the current episode that you can download with Houston Nutt. But these things went together. So Ty had assigned me the documentary that is named The Identity Theft of Mitch Mustaine. This is a 2013 documentary that is written, directed, and produced by Matthew Wolf. And it's a story that I think all of our listeners understand very, very well. I remember speaking with Mitch Mustaine about this before the movie came out, when I was filling in on the Buzz in Little Rock, and I just remember being sort of taken aside by this guy whose name was ever present in this state for a 4-year period, even after that, when he finally did leave, just was quiet and reserved to almost to a fault, it seemed. So here's what I did. Last night, after the American League wildcard game's done, I started my halftime homework as I procrastinated a little bit, and I watched about the first 45 minutes to 50 minutes of the documentary, and so that basically takes you up to the part where Gus Malzahn is hired as the offensive coordinator and hired away from Springdale, and Houston Nutt essentially is forced to bring him in as the OC after back-to-back losing seasons. So at that point, I stopped. I went to bed and woke up this morning and wanted to go on a run. So I like to listen to the Hog Pod sometimes when I'm running, and the most recent episode is the Houston Nutt episode. And I'm thinking, wow, this is kismet. This works. So I listened to the first, it's about an hour episode of the Hog Pod. I listened to the first 45 minutes of it, finish the run, come back, make breakfast, put the Mitch Mustaine documentary back on, finish that, and then listen to the end of the Houston Nutt Hog Pod while I'm prepping for the show. So it's like these things that really do work together, blended together perfectly. And I thought it worked out well, Ty, because, Bo Mattingly is featured very heavily in the documentary, and he's the host of the Hog Pod. Mitch Mustaine is the only one, aside from Ben Cleveland, out of the Springdale Five that spoke on camera, at least to the documentary maker, and you never saw anything from Houston Nutt. All you saw from Nutt was a text message that said he didn't see any purpose to being a part of the movie. Gus Malzahn wouldn't speak to Matthew Wolff, and neither did Mitch Mustaine's mom. And, I mean, these were really three of the most controversial people that were involved in, essentially, and I thought that the title of the movie was dead on, the identity theft of Mitch Mustaine. Go from being the top football player in the country to someone that played one game in 2 years at USC, never got drafted even though he had tried twice, had a fledgling baseball career, pitching for 11 games in the White Sox organization 6 years ago, tried to latch on with the Arena League, the Canadian League, nothing worked. I don't even know what Mitch Mustaine is doing now. I know he was working at a car dealer in Northwest Arkansas, and this is when the movie came out in 2013. So
I looked up
Houston Nutt, he's still, you can even see on the Hog Pod, there's when he says certain people, you can tell that the way that he was forced out at Arkansas, and whatever you think about what happened back then, it is still a thorn in the side of him. I think of everybody that identifies themselves as a Razorback fan. And watching this movie, the movie came out before I ever cared about the Razorbacks on a personal basis, Ty, and it brought it back for me of just how crazy the entire deal was.
And at the same time, that team went to the SEC championship. I think that's what the craziest part is, how much talent was on that team. Hillis, Monk, Jones, McFadden. I almost blanked on the greatest Razorback arguably of all time. I mean, there's so much talent defensively. Jamal Anderson, some studs on that unit. And they, through all the tumultuous times, through all the turmoil, through all the stuff the coaches and players were going through, they still won 10 football games and went to the SEC championship. It's absolutely incredible. If you haven't watched it, just like Phil just did, I encourage you to, because it gives you a different insight than Houston Nutt's take on the whole situation. So glad you enjoyed it and just more insight into the program. Now, I got kind of a nonsense movie, which I thoroughly enjoyed, The Naked Gun. By the way, it holds up very well today. There's some movies hold up, don't hold up. This one does. I mean,
this movie came out in 1989. It'll still crack you up.
Yeah, you got Weird Al at the very beginning, which I know you're a big fan of.
I love the movie anyway, but that's a nice kicker for me.
O.J. Simpson in the movie. Then you talked about who he was at the time, one of the most revered former athletes that was just so well known and well liked amongst people. And then what happened to him after that, or what he did after that. Excuse me, not what happened to him. My bad use of words. The best quote, though, was I think when Drebin's breaking up with his girlfriend, and he's like, "By the way, I faked every order. I was sitting in a easy back chair, and I almost tipped it over. I was crying so hard. I mean, there
are legitimate moments from that movie. Now, I saw that movie in the theater when it came out. The scene at the press conference when they're announcing the Queen's visit, and he goes to the restroom while he still has his lavalier microphone on, I was rolling around on the floor. Admittedly, I was 12 years old at that time, so fart jokes really made me laugh. But that's the only time I've been on the floor of a movie theater.
Or when she's going up to the bookshelves and he goes, "Nice beaver," and she pulls down an actual beaver pelt, and we all know what
Thanks. I just had it stuffed.
Yeah, we all know what that refers to. It was great, man. And I think but as I tie this up, the funniest part is just those hunky-dory, like corny stuff, like him running into people fishing or them painting and stuff like that, and him acting like he didn't know what was going on, or when he forgot to leave his car braked and that came to the bottom of the hill and he finds a detective that's younger than him that obviously is not on the same power, and it's like, figure out who did that, take notes, take people's witness reports and stuff. So that was great. So I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I think
one of the more famous internet memes comes from that movie, by the way. The moment of "there's nothing to see here, move on," with the cop that's waving around while the fireworks factory in the background is blowing up all over the place.
Yeah.
That's a famous internet meme, so that can bring our generations together.
So what
this leads into the next thing I want to have you watch. So Leslie Nielsen, who plays Frank Drebin, is known to my generation as one of the greater comedic actors of the time. All slapstick, really. I mean, and he had that great deadpan delivery. But Nielsen was a country western actor, a serious actor for a long, long time. And nobody ever thought of him as a comedian until we heard him say these famous words.
Can you fly this plane and land it?
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
All right, so he's playing the doctor in the movie called Airplane. It comes from 1980, and that's your assignment. I think you're going to love this movie. This is really where slapstick comedy came from, and it is a timeless movie.
I have a number of friends that like this movie, so I think I'm going to enjoy it as well. Airplane is going to be my next assignment. Your next assignment, Phil, it's Friday Night Lights. 13 years ago today, it premiered on October 3rd. I was joking with you and Phil that Mean Girls also appear on that day, but I'm not going to make you watch Mean Girls.
You can try to watch Clay watch that. He's not having it.
I would think that would be hysterical to see Clay's reaction. Mean Girls is like the Clueless of my generation. That's the best basis for our older audience members. So the majority of the male listeners that we have would hate the movie, but your show that you're going to watch is Friday Night Lights. You can either watch it on NBC.com or just NBC if you look up on your TV, Phil.
Majority of our listeners will love an ice cold Coors Light, so don't forget, folks, when the mountains are blue, you go for two.
Exactly right.
We'll come back with more halftime after the break. You're listening to ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
Look what God gave her. No hidden agendas on this program. You're listening to Halftime. It's like he answered my prayers, the way that she moves. This is the Morning Rush.
John, I love your passion, but I don't know what you're drinking this morning. Get rid of it. Tommy, drug test this guy. I don't know if that's a policy at the radio station.
It's going to become one.
But legitimately, there's got to be some psychiatric help that will reach out to you, John, and provide it as a service for some free advertising for the radio station.
Don't miss the Morning Rush. Weekdays from 6 till 9. Only on ESPN 95.3.
When was the last time you looked forward to seeing the dentist? Well, if it's been a while or you haven't had the best of experience with dentistry, meet Marcy Van Ash McKinney of Family Dentistry. They take care of it all. Crowns, bonding, dentures, bleaching, and cosmetic dentistry. They even offer oral consciousness sedation available for your comfort. That's Marcy Van Ash McKinney Family Dentistry at 807 South 21st. Call for an appointment today, 494-7600. That's 494-7600.
Great camping weather is just around the corner, so at Breeden RV in Van Buren, we're having our year-end clearance sale right now. Get great deals on new RVs like travel trailers that start at $99.95 and fifth wheels starting under $30,000. Breeden RV is the only dealer that gives our new customers maintenance for life for free. We also have a great selection of pre-camp trailers and RVs to choose from. Now is the time to camp, and now is the time to let Breeden RV in Van Buren show you just how easy it can be. Breeden RV, your home for maintenance for life.
Oh, that's an RV.
The best TV experience in the nation is available locally with personal service from WOW World of Wireless, your neighborhood professional Dish authorized retailer. Dish has the Hopper 3, the most advanced DVR, and delivers a premium viewing experience. Tired of running out of DVR space? With the Hopper 3, you can record up to 2,000 hours of your favorite programming and watch your very own favorite channels and DVR recording anywhere you go on your phone or tablet. Call now, WOW World of Wireless at 877-305-DISH. That's 877-305-3474 for more details. Or stop by our location at the corner of Phoenix and Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith, or visit us online at shopwownow.com. Get the Hopper 3 today by calling WOW World of Wireless at 877-305-DISH. That's 877-305-3474. Or online at shopwownow.com.
Monthly equipment fees and other restrictions apply. Recording hours vary. 2,000 hours based on SD programming. Remote viewing requires internet connection and compatible mobile device.
Miss Anna's on Towson is quickly becoming one of Fort Smith's favorite haunts. We're now serving breakfast from 6 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. 7 days a week. Blue Plate specials served Monday through Friday. And don't forget about 99-cent Pie Tuesday. So whether you're craving some of our great kickin' chicken or one of our world-famous desserts, Miss Anna's is the place to be. 5001 Towson Avenue in Fort Smith, 649-6300. That's 649-6300.
Fall has arrived. Back to school, football games, hunting season, and we know that you don't have the time to deal with an auto accident. Let Evans Body Shop help you through the process from beginning to end. Our caring office staff will take care of the insurance details, and our dedicated shop crew will make sure that your vehicle is repaired properly and beautifully, and that you are back on the road in no time. Come meet us today and see why we say we meet the nicest people by accident. Visit with us at 412 Gordon Avenue in Van Buren, just off Fayetteville Road.
Evans Body Shop, where we meet the nicest people by accident.
Barley is the soul of Budweiser. That's why we've been working with the same family-owned American farms for more than 50 years to harvest it. The secrets to growing this grain perfectly have been passed down through 3 generations. For them, it's a legacy. And it's why only the best barley and locally sourced ingredients are used to make Budweiser. Budweiser is proudly raised across America. This Bud's from our barley farmers. This Bud's for you. Enjoy responsibly. Budweiser Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
ESPN 95.3.
Touchdown!
Halftime is brought to you by Supercuts, who supports local teams. Supercuts. We're super into the movement.
Yeah, they got it going on.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
At the end of the day, it's on the road in the SEC with a backup quarterback, and this running game with Darren McFadden is the real deal. The Hogs take it to Tennessee. I like Arkansas.
3 hours away from the first pitch of the National League Division Series. Cardinals and Braves, Nationals and Dodgers in the night game. I know you Braves fans are hoping you don't get the same sort of thing that happened with the infield fly rule the last time that the Cardinals and Braves met in the postseason.
Can you explain that to me?
Oh, that's something we can get into later on. That's one way to get under a Braves fan's fingernails is to say the words infield fly rule to reference the wild card game from 2012.
Is it like asking Georgia fans to show you some Herschel Walker highlights because that's the only thing that they have going for them?
No, Braves fans have more than just the one thing. I mean, being a Braves fan's got to be a little bit torturous because you've had this great run of success for like the last almost 30 years, like 27, 28 years, with all these division championships, Hall of Famers, and one World Series championship. And it was the one that nobody was really paying attention to in 1995 because it was the year after the strike.
I was going to say the lockout year, so that's a bummer. I think the Spurs' first championship in 99 often gets overlooked because it's a shortened season and Michael just retired and Avery Johnson, Tim Duncan, and David Robinson went out and won that thing. Sometimes, you know how it is. Championships just get overlooked based on the circumstances surrounding them.
I'm trying to think of a play that's constantly reminded to Arkansas fans that's like a punch in the stomach. It's the fumble by Clint Sterner.
Yeah,
it's got to be the Sterner fumble in the loss to Tennessee.
That's been dubbed this, and I don't pretend to know Clint on like a hugely personal basis, but he's been good to me over the last few years. So I've never referred to that as the Sternover, and I think it's a little disrespectful to a certain degree. But he did so much for Arkansas, but there's fans listening right now, the first thing when you hear Clint Sterner pop in your head, that's what they think of. Even though that shouldn't be the case, there's numerous other examples, whether it's dicing up LSU on the road or the road to redemption in 99 against Tennessee, which I had you watch for halftime homework. But you often know this, Phil. The fact is, often bad memories eclipse the good ones, like when it comes to popping up first thing in your head. That's why sometimes it's good for a team. Like, people are like, oh, no one listens to radio after Arkansas. No one reads stuff. No, our numbers have been, for those who want to know, our numbers across the board, hitthatline.com, our online streaming, our listening radio-wise, everything has gone up this month. Everything. I guess we're in October. In September, though.
Well, that's just because it was football season. I mean, isn't that the case?
No, comparatively to, like, previous football years and then last month. Because it's weird. It's because people think they call in, they listen in, they read stuff, and they think they have the answers and stuff. And trust me, I am not rooting for Arkansas to lose. I don't care how many more listeners we get. I'd rather them win football games. I think that's more fun to talk about. But to say that no one cares that they lose, that it's just like the apathy sets in, it's just simply not the case.
By the way, some of the more famous plays that you'd rather, infamous plays would be the right way to say it, are coming in on our text line. And Ross in Paris reminds us about not catching a foul ball. That was something I was going to bring up, but since, talking about pop-ups and baseball and playoffs, that definitely hits you in the gut. And the Reggie Fish fumble in the SEC title game.
He muffed it. That call is so vivid to me from Vern Lundquist. And
I just heard it, too. It's on the Hog Pod, the latest Hog Pod with Houston Nutt. So I just heard that one too, referring to Reggie Fish's fumble against Florida the last time Arkansas played in the SEC championship game. Another one is here's another one about the pop-up. I'm well aware about the pop-up, John, in Hot Springs. I see it. I saw it with my own eyes. And the thing about the infield fly rule deal with the Braves is that this was about a bad call. This wasn't just about a play that didn't go Atlanta's way. It was about a bad call that was left up to a judgment call, according to Joe Torre. So, I mean, we're already into this. We might as well get into it. The last time the Braves and Cardinals played a postseason game, and it wasn't a series because it was the wild card game in 2012, and the Braves are trailing 6-3 in the eighth inning. They load the bases. And Andrelton Simmons popped a ball up. Now, with one out, a pop-up on the infield automatically is an infield fly, which is an out, whether it's caught or not. But it's up to the umpires to make this distinction. So the question in this idea is, what is an infield fly? Because the pop-up that Simmons hit took the shortstop of the Cardinals, it's eluding me at the moment, but he goes out into short left field. He went out about, 50 feet or so into left field, and he was there potentially to make the catch. He never camped underneath it, but he would have been able to make the catch. And I think it was, who was the left fielder? It might have been Matt Holliday, I think, for St. Louis. Calls him off last moment, or so the shortstop thought, gets out of the way, and the ball drops. So, but the umpire, Sam Holbrook, said infield fly, even though it was about 50 feet into left field. And in Holbrook's distinction, he called infield fly because the infielder had the best chance to catch it. But he wasn't ever camped underneath it, and he was about to be called off by the left fielder. So for me, I didn't think that was an infield fly. And Dan Uggla was the batter of the Braves, and later on they lose on a Dan Uggla on the last at bat of the game, and it was crazy because the Braves played the rest of the game under protest. Joe Torre did not uphold the protest, and he said it's because of a judgment call, which on the infield fly rule, I never thought that it could actually be a judgment call. So, I mean, that's how you can really piss off some Braves fans. Sorry, because Braves fans can just say the words Francisco Cabrera to me, and I'll just go suck my thumb in the corner.
Got a couple texts in on the Cherokee Casino hotline. Drew in Northwest Arkansas says NWA Cards shortstop Rafael Furcal. Is that the left fielder?
Was that Furcal? That was Furcal had been playing for the Braves. So
maybe that was the hitter.
If he was with the Cardinals then. I know I should remember who the shortstop is of the Cardinals at that point, but it's funny. I could tell you like every World Series champion from 1966 through 2006, and some of these things in the last 13 years have started to blend together, or maybe I'm just getting old and senile.
It wasn't Eckstein, was it? That little after his time, David Eckstein.
That would have been after Eckstein was done.
He was
yes.
07, right?
Yeah, that would have been after.
I just have this vivid picture in my head of him on Sports Illustrated. A lot of my friends are diehard Cardinals fans, and they have that Sports Illustrated cover, and it was something like Small Man or something, because he's tiny. He's kind of like Jose Altuve, just a small dude that is just a nitty-gritty, incredible baseball player, and that's who he was. But that's the only, I almost said Red Sox, only Cardinals shortstop that I could remember. Randy texted in, Phil. He said he was a big Braves fan in the 80s and 90s, and he loved Bobby Cox. He said he was great.
I'm guessing that he probably became a Braves fan just because they were on WTBS, the Superstation, back in the day when you only had, I guess 3 teams kind of televised their games across the country. You had WGN putting the Cubs on. I think they put the White Sox on, just not at the level as the Cubs because they played so many day games. Braves were on TBS, which the Braves were owned by Ted Turner at that time, and the Mets were on WWOR. So the Mets don't have that national fan base. The Braves do. And one of the odd things about this series with the Cardinals and Braves, so I told you Sam Holbrook was the umpire that made this call on the infield fly. He's the crew chief for this entire series.
Wow, that's significant.
And all he was for that game was a left field umpire, because in postseason baseball you go with 6 umpires. There are 2 outfield umpires down the baselines, and Ron Darling made an interesting comment after that infield fly was called. When you have more umpires, maybe you have more calls, and some more calls that wouldn't have the perspective of an outfield umpire, and therefore, in that case, maybe a call that shouldn't have been made in the first place.
So, Phil, let's get back to the conversation. We're talking about Reggie Fish, Clint Sterner's fumble, the World Series pop-up that wasn't caught. Is there a significant – I know baseball doesn't get the same level of interest as football does, but – that was for a national championship. I mean, you think about what happened. I know that people say, well, Arkansas is going to the national championship if they beat Tennessee on the road. We still don't know 100% how that plays out. So if Arkansas was defined by one play, and I know we're coming up on a break, but I want your answer. I'll give you mine. Is it the College World Series pop-out, or is it one of the football plays that you think stands out as well?
So, you're asking essentially like for a fan base that is as fatalistic as Arkansas is, and you always feel like something's going to happen where the sky is going to fall. A little bit of Chicken Little, and maybe in a lot of cases you've got reason to feel that way. If there were one play to define the fan base or just the athletic department or the program, it would be the pop-up? Is that what you think?
Well, I'm asking you.
That's the closest you can come to winning a national title and not winning it.
I think it has to be just because the fact, we can go back to the Sterner potential. Tennessee, they beat Tennessee. They go on to win a national championship. But the fact that you had a national championship in your grasp, I think it has to be that. Yeah, I think it has to be.
But it's different than this pop-up that I'm referring to with the infield fly, because that was all about a gray area of a rule interpretation. So I don't know if you can probably point to some bad calls in one of the SEC title games against Florida. There were some pretty bad calls in that game, if I remember. A bad strike zone here and there, but I don't know if there would be one like bad call that you would think of, well, that's the one that really cost us more than anything. And it's the same idea with that infield fly with the Braves and Cardinals. Who knows whether or not the Braves still would have been able to come back, because they would have been at the very least another run down, but they would have had some momentum going in that direction. We're brought to you by our friends at Breeden RV. Camping weather's around the corner at Breeden RV in Van Buren. They're having their year-end clearance sale right now. Great deals on new RVs. Travel trailers starting at $99.95 and fifth wheels up to $30,000 that are under $30,000. And Breeden RV is also the only dealer that gives new customers maintenance for life. We'll come back after the break, and halftime continues on ESPN Arkansas and HitThatLine.com.
No hidden agendas on this program. You're listening to Halftime.
Protection with possibilities. Have past losses made you cautious about taking on risk with your investments? Are you concerned that your savings are not generating the returns you need? If you are interested in protecting your money and capturing potential investment growth, contact Brad Lewis at United Financial Advisors at 242-7466 or ufadvisors.net to see whether market-linked CDs may be the right solution for you.
Securities and advisory service offered through Royal Alliance Associates, member FINRA, SIPC. United Financial Advisors is a marketing destination.
I'm Lisa Hinton, owner of Champ Hinton Enterprises. For nearly 50 years, the Champ Hinton name has stood for one thing: selling quality cars in a different way, taking the mumbo jumbo out of the process and making customers happy. All these years and tens of thousands of cars later, we're still here, doing business the way Champ Hinton taught us, selling to generations of families who've become part of our family. Champ Hinton Enterprises, the area's premier used car dealer. Take the Arcoma exit off I-540 or go online at champhinton.com.
If football is being played, TGI Fridays in Fort Smith is the place to watch and enjoy, no matter the day of the week or time of the day. TGI Fridays has the game on and all your favorite beers, drinks, and appetizers, including $2 draft beers, $5 pitchers, and $3 specialty drinks, plus delicious appetizers like loaded cheese fries, boneless wings, skillet queso, and lots more for only $5. Football, food, and fun all day long. If it's game day, it's TGI Fridays, I-540 and Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith. Archery season is underway, and black powder season is just days away. And Jelco Outdoors has all your black powder rifles and supplies to get you ready for your hunt. Brands like CBA, Traditions, and Thompson Center. Stop by Jelco Outdoors, your premier locally owned sporting goods store in the River Valley, for all your fall hunting gear. Shop local. Shop Jelco Outdoors. And remember, a great hunt begins at Jelco Outdoors.
Jody'sAuto.com sells tires, lots of tires, the best tire brands at the same prices as the Warehouse Club or Big Tire Chain Store. Price match guarantee. But at Jody'sAuto.com, it's the people. They know tires. They can help you find the best tire for your vehicle at a price you'll want to pay, and financing. Free flat repair to everyone. Free road hazard when you buy 4 tires. Can't get that at the club or chain. But Jody'sAuto.com does way more. 3 oil change specials, 1 for every budget. 3 locations, 2 in Fort Smith, 1 in Van Buren. And they do everything. All services, all maintenance, all tires, even towing and fleets. One stop for everything, Jody'sAuto.com. Can't get any of that at the club or chain. Voted best of the best by the customers. Since 1984, one stop, convenience and trust, Jody'sAuto.com.
ESPN 95.3. Halftime is brought to you by 906 Cocktail and Cigar Lounge. Upgrade your evening on the Avenue. You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
And Derby's got the first down. A.J. Derby then hits the speed. How about that? Did he stay in? Touchdown, Arkansas!
Halftime on this lovely Thursday. Phil Elson, Ty Richardson on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com. I know we had spoken earlier today with Bob Holt after he interviewed Eric Musselman, and I'd referred to the video that Arkansas basketball put up on their team website and on the Twitter feed, and you're really getting a window inside practice now under the new head coach of Arkansas. And I mean, you kind of gotten a different viewpoint on the basketball program overall, really just through social media since Musselman has been the coach. But this to me felt like the biggest real glance inside what an Eric Musselman practice is like. And they call it mic'd up first practice. So this came right from the first real organized practice in which you get 2 hours. And I remember talking with Aaron Torres about his practices, Ty, and we'll have Aaron on tomorrow. And he's the one who I remember hearing the term first about it being organized chaos at practice. 5-minute drill, move them on to something else, so on and so forth. And so it seems like these practices are kind of nuts, and I'm interested to watch that when I'm setting up women's basketball equipment during a men's practice. So let's play some of the sound of what it sounded like, and we can react to it.
So day one, it's a grind now, okay? It's a grind on Wednesday, it's a grind Thursday, and it's a grind Friday. But you're going to fight through it, and you're going to be mentally tough, and you're going to bring it every day. That's your challenge, okay, to get better every single day. And you got to be hungry for your roster spot. You got to be hungry. You got to be hungry for, am I going to earn a starting spot? We're in training camp right now. Okay, we're college basketball players playing in the SEC and the Power 5. Everybody on the baseline, let's do 2 up and backs. We must not be warm, or somebody close the doors. There's too much wind in here. Don't miss layups. We're shooting for perfection when we're 5-on-0. I'm not going to back off you. Like, I'm not going to say, oh, blow it off, it's just a missed layup. We're going to keep coming at you every day until eventually our habits are really, really good. LeBron James in training camp is going to try to get better. Your mindset, you guys, has to go, not that I have to be here until we get to games, that I get to be here. I get to be here to get better. That's how you got to be thinking right now. It's got to be, wow, I get a chance to get better. 2 more hours to get better today. If we're doing all these stations, it's to do it perfect. If you play hard and you're tough, I'll play you. Because I'm not going to have a guy sitting up in the middle of the arena thinking our team doesn't play hard and doesn't care. I won't do that.
That part at the very end was great. I will not have got some guy just sitting up there in the middle of the arena think our team doesn't play hard. That really tied off the end of it. So the clip's about 3 minutes and 45 seconds. If you want to watch it in its entirety, you can go to the Arkansas Razorback basketball account Twitter feed, clipped out the best parts of it. But, man, intensity is something we've heard from national college basketball, Nevada people. That's the tone, what's associated with Eric Musselman. I think that one little case example is just another one of them, Phil.
You know, and coaches will get on players, and I think most coaches do. And you saw a clip last week of Musselman getting on JT Notte briefly. He says he's going to be on them. They're striving for perfection. And you know, this is part of the salesmanship, I think, that Musselman is very, very good at without really sounding like he is trying to sell. You know, that's what social media is all about. There's an excitement that is surrounding Arkansas basketball for a number of factors. One, football is down, and so people are a little more invested potentially in what the other sports are doing. Two, just the overall, I don't know, marketing aspect of what Musselman's crew and the marketing department is doing along with this. Now, it's interesting because we hear stories about what Eddie Sutton had to do when he first came in as the Arkansas basketball coach, and it was to sell the program and even remind people that there was a basketball program. So we went all around the state. Back in the day when, you know, going on TV and radio wasn't enough, he needed that person-to-person contact. And so he goes to all the Razorback clubs, and you know, when that goes along with winning and with the ability to connect to a fan base, you end up with a fan base that is completely and emotionally invested. You know, and it's not to say that Mike Anderson wasn't good at selling the program, but part of the reason that you bought in with Mike to begin with was his pedigree at Arkansas, his previous stops with the success that he'd had as a coach, and he didn't really have to get out there and be all openly intense in front of the cameras. Plus, social media wasn't really a big thing back then. Mm-hmm. But it also seemed like it would be a little bit out of character for Mike because, you know, Musselman, we've been allowed inside his house on social media with the players and seen what it's been like for them too. I mean, Mike and Marshita had the players over all the time. She made dinner for them quite a bit. I mean, it's nothing out of the ordinary for both of them to be doing that. And the other thing too is, I mean, when you saw Anderson at practice, and I know people gave him some guff for not being so intense during games and thinking he's not yelling enough or whatever, so he doesn't care enough. I saw him get on players quite a bit. Mike Anderson would get on players. It just didn't happen on social media. I wonder how much the cameras will be allowed in practice during the season.
Yep.
You know, I mean,
great question.
Does it go along with the wins and the losses? Do you feel like you've got to continue this perspective and angle for as long as he's the coach for the first year? I will be paying attention, obviously, because we all love this stuff. I think the fans love this stuff. Do you love it in December, you know, when you're going through a 3 or 4 game lull?
So build-up is an important part for any new coaching tenure. You had that with Chad Morris. Unfortunately for him and his staff, there hasn't been a lot, if anything, that's mounted on top of the build-up. For Eric Musselman, you still haven't seen a single game where his team puts it out there on the floor. So the buildup right now is high. I mean, there are fans that think probably out there, and these are the crazy fans that think this team's going to a Final Four this year. That's not going to happen. But because of the buildup, because they are doing such a good job with the social media, reaching back into time, pulling back every single bit, every single ounce of what they can, whether it's Barnhill, whether it's putting Nolan's name on the court. I mean, there is such a respect level that Eric Musselman and Hunter Yurachek also deserves credit for this too, Phil, that they are giving to the history of Arkansas basketball. Now, you're seeing the same thing on a smaller scale with Chad Morris trying to bring back the jerseys, the Dat Wood, with Darren McFadden, the award like that, but they have just intensified. This is absolutely incredible, and what puzzles me is I'm not going to criticize Anderson necessarily for his performance on the court because there were some good things, some bad things, but it never seemed like that Anderson, and he has the biggest tie-in over anyone, right? Like he, outside of maybe Scotty Thurman on that scab, like coached under him, like was just so long under Richardson. Musselman's latched onto that, and that's why I think he's gained the respect level, not only from fans now, but former players. Nolan Richardson, now I can't speak 100% to what Nolan Richardson thinks about him, but it seems like they have a respect level for each other, some of these older former players, because he knows how important it is, the historical significance of Arkansas basketball. In order to get back to who it was, you have to show players who don't know a lot about this historical significance that was once a part of this program the reason that you should be proud to be an Arkansas basketball player, Phil.
Jeremiah in Cedarville wanted to know if Scotty Thurman's still part of the coaching staff. No, he's taken over as the head coach at Little Rock Parkview. And Justin in Boonville thinks that Muss has done a good job creating excitement around a program that has no reason for excitement because the team didn't make the tournament last year and are even smaller. So, I mean, I think that there's some reason to be excited about the program. I think Isaiah Joe looks like a guy, he's going to maybe goes into the draft after this year. There's some exciting things about the program. And the one thing that I get a little nervous about, and it's not to put the two coaches together in the same box, but there's a little bit of the excitement without the coaching that you've seen yet, without the results on the field because you haven't played yet, that you saw from Chad Morris's first few months with the hammer down and the left lane, the stuff that you don't hear anymore, and I think there are legitimate reasons to be excited about basketball compared to football because you can turn around things much easier in basketball. And let's be honest here, the basketball program is in such better shape than the football program was when Chad Morris took it over. So, I mean, we got to tamp it down a little bit, just a little bit. I understand being fired up about it. I love these clips, too. I think Muss looks like the right coach for the right time. Give it a few months, right?
Yeah, exactly right. Hey, we're brought to you in part by Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. It doesn't get colder than this. Cold lagered, cold filtered, cold packaged, cold activated can. Phil, what do you always do when the mountains turn blue?
You go for two.
Exactly right. Coors Light, made to chill.
We're going to come back after the break. We're going to close up shop with a cherry on the top of halftime, so stick around on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
No hidden agendas on this program. You're listening to Halftime.
Did someone say, I'm hungry? Visit 906 Cocktail and Cigar Lounge on the Avenue. Try the new panini sandwiches like the Chicken Pyro or the Cubana or the signature 906 wings. Jumbo wings roasted with honey bacon jam. Want some spice? Try the black and blue wings. Experience their salads, flatbreads, coffees and desserts, top shelf wines and liquors, premium beers, world-class cigars, all in an atmosphere that feels less like a lounge and more like a destination. Sample, indulge, escape. 906 Cocktail and Cigar Lounge. Treat your appetite on the Avenue.
Guys, nobody wants to paint. But to stay on the good side's better half, there's no choice. 5 Star Painting of Fort Smith is a professional company that does residential and commercial painting. They do it all. Interior, exterior, refinishing cabinets, fences, and decks, even some light carpentry. From the time you call for your free estimate to the attention they give to you in detail, you will be satisfied. It's guaranteed, and 5 Star Painting of Fort Smith owner Sean Weidman has been in the area for years, so you know it's all about a great reputation. Make mama happy and everyone's happy. 5 Star Painting of Fort Smith, licensed, insured, and bonded for trust. Go to 5starpainting.com/Fort Smith and get that honeydew done.
Is your home secure? No, really. Is your home secure? Do you just ignore the dog yapping, roll over, and go back to sleep? Guardtronic, the oldest alarm company in Arkansas, can make sure you sleep soundly. Founded in 1959, Guardtronic will make sure your home or business is protected against fire and burglary. How much do you have to lose? Call us at 785-2323 for a free quote before the bad guys make a call on you. Or visit guardtronic.com. License E050.
Thank goodness that the fall season is upon us. And with this special time of year comes football, cooler weather, changing leaves, and free internet and phone service from Pinnacle Telecom. That's right. Switch your phone and internet service over to Pinnacle Telecom and get your first month free. Take advantage of Pinnacle Telecom's fast fiber internet and or hosted telephone service, and your first month's bill is on us. So let Pinnacle Telecom make your fall even better with this one-of-a-kind first month free promotion. Pinnacle Telecom, tomorrow's technology today.
Look your best with Perfecto Cleaners at the bottom of Fiena Hills. Count on same-day service, easy drive-through covered drop-off and pickup window, and fast turnaround on alterations. Perfecto Cleaners always goes the extra mile to ensure your clothes look their best, making you look your best. Be sure to clip their coupons in the yellow pages, and as always, in by 9 and out by 5 Monday through Friday. Perfecto Cleaners, just off Jenny Lind at the bottom of Fiena Hills. Perfecto Cleaners, making you look your best.
What would an extra $250 a month mean to you? For some, it's a little financial breathing room. For others, it's a car payment, a home repair, or help with college tuition. Hi, I'm Jay Farner, president of Quicken Loans, and I've got some great news if you're looking to save money on your mortgage. All it takes is a simple phone call to Quicken Loans at 800-QUICKEN to see if you qualify for the government's Home Affordable Refinance Program, or HARP. Folks who refinance with HARP can save an average of $250 a month. That's $3,000 a year. Our home loan experts fully understand the HARP guidelines, and they'll walk you through our streamlined process. And for 5 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction. And for the second year in a row, they've also ranked us highest in mortgage servicing. Call 800-QUICKEN or visit QuickenLoans.com.
Visit jdpower.com for award information. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLSConsumerAccess.org. Number 3030.
End of summer savings on Sierras and Yukon XLs. Right now at Harry Robinson Buick GMC. Save up to $14,000 off on the 2019 GMC Sierra SLT. Featuring the new body style and tons of features. Now $14,000 off. Need third row seating? The 2019 GMC Yukon XL has tons of room and all the features you demand. Right now save up to $13,000 off. End of summer savings. Save up to $14,000 off at Harry Robinson Buick GMC. Exit 11 off of I-540 in Fort Smith.
ESPN 95.3.
Touchdown!
Halftime is brought to you by Supercuts, who supports local teams. Supercuts. We're super into the movement.
Yeah, they got it going on.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Here's Jones on a keeper. Out over the 40 to midfield. Matt Jones may take it to the house. And the dunk.
Closing up shop here on ESPN Arkansas. HitThatLine.com and cherry on the top. Saw another Major League manager met his demise today. Mickey Callaway shown the door in New York after 2 years as the Mets manager. The Angels fired Brad Ausmus after 1 year. And I guess they're saying it makes a lot of sense for Joe Maddon to go back to Anaheim, where he had been Mike Scioscia's bench coach for a while, helped the Angels build that organization, won a world title with them in 2002 before he took the job with the Rays. It'll be interesting, too, because if I remember correctly, Maddon left the Rays and signed on with the Cubs, who fired Rich Renteria after 1 year. And so the Angels firing Brad Ausmus after 1 year and then looking to Maddon. I mean, you're not going to call him the usurper or anything else. Obviously was the right hire for the Cubs at that time because he won them managed them to a world championship. And interesting how I think it was a quote from I'm forgetting the guy's name who built from Theo. I should remember Theo's name,
Epstein.
Theo Epstein.
Yeah.
That he would still hire Maddon as the Cubs manager almost any other time except this year. It's just something about a disconnect between the team and the manager that that didn't seem right. So as the playoffs kick off in baseball, managerial firing season begins as well. All right, so you got the National League Division Series today, and the American League. Or am I mixing this up? No, it is the American League tomorrow, the National League today. And the Braves sticking former Razorback Dallas Keuchel out there. And the Keuchel, I mean, he should be fresh, maybe more so than most other pitchers, if any of them, in the playoffs, because, I mean, he didn't even make his first start of the season until July, and carried a 3.75 ERA throughout the year. He'll be taking on Miles Michaelis of the St. Louis Cardinals. Cardinals had they had to get hot. They had to get hot, and boy, they did at the end of the season. An 18-9 month of August, a 16-12 month of September. Mike Shildt, an interesting guy, a guy who, if I remember correctly, did not play professional baseball, but has been a lifetime coach or minor league manager and now major league manager with the Cardinals, taking them to a division championship. And then later on, it's the Nats sending Patrick Corbin. It'll be interesting to see how the Nationals utilize Steven Strasburg after he throws 3 innings in relief in the National League wild card game. So they had to use 2 of their starters for that game. And Walker Buehler getting out there for the Dodgers, who are a heavy, heavy favorite. The home teams are the heavy favorites today, Ty. And, of course, we go by the money line in baseball. The Braves favored on the money line -142, and the Dodgers -170. And that's against a Nationals team that's had the best record in baseball since, I think, May 18th, and went 43-38 playing on the road. But the Dodgers this year, 59 wins, 22 losses at Dodger Stadium. I don't know that it fits into like all-time history, but I remember last week we talked about the Tigers briefly, and the Tigers set a record for most losses at home in a major league season with 59. So that 59 home wins for the Dodgers, if it's not a major league record, it might be kind of close.
Philly, do you want to know who has the best record or one of the best records for major league wins in a season?
Who do you got?
Your Pirates. Way back in the day.
Oh, it's a long time ago, sure.
Way back in the day. 1902 is one of their best seasons, but, man, I'm sorry even about your Pirates.
Can I go the Pirates route again here and just make it hurt a little bit more? So this Rays-Astros series that starts tomorrow. Boy, and it'll be a great series. I like the way Tampa's playing right now. I don't think anybody's going to beat Houston. So this series involves a game. Every one of those games, at least for the first 3, has a former Pirates pitcher. And that means the Pirates seem to get rid of somebody just before they do really, really well. This is one of the reasons why Huntington, the general manager, needs to go. They don't get rid of players at the right time. So the Braves, I'm going with the Rays and the Astros. Tyler Glasnow will start for Tampa in Game 1 against Justin Verlander. And Verlander, of course, is aces. But Glasnow was a Pirates prospect and did pitch for them. He was part of that 3-for-1 deal that got the Pirates Chris Archer, and it just blew up in their faces. Garrett Cole pitching for Houston in Game 2. Cole, potentially the American League Cy Young Award winner, and will be the free agent prize of the offseason. It'll be interesting to see when he goes because of the issues with free agency in baseball. And then in Game 3, Charlie Morton for Tampa. And they talked about it on the ESPN broadcast 2 days ago, or yesterday, because it was last night that Morton pitched, that he didn't become the pitcher that he is until he left Pittsburgh. And they coincided with, they say, well, this is somebody that just got better as he got older. And I'm thinking, no, he got better because he left Pittsburgh. That's just the way things work.
You're just doing it to yourself. So I'm sorry you have to sulk in your own misery. Good grief. All right. So of these teams remaining, Phil, you got the Twins, Yankees, Rays, Astros, Dodgers, Nationals, Braves, and Cardinals. I know the Cardinals have won a World Series. I know the Braves have won a World Series. The Nationals haven't, correct?
The Nationals, not only have they never won a World Series, they've never been to one, because that's the former Montreal Expos who never made it to the World Series and lost their best chance because of the strike in 1994.
Didn't the Capitals just win the NHL?
Yes, the Caps won the Stanley Cup 2 seasons ago.
Okay, 2 seasons.
The Skins have 3 Super Bowl championships, though. It's been a minute.
Okay. What about the Twins? I know the Yankees have, and I know the Astros. What I say that
the Twins, I know, at least have 2 world championships. They were the '87 and the '91 world championships. I think they might have lost to the Dodgers in the '60s. One year in the '60s, I think the Twins lost to Los Angeles. So the Twins have been there. I mean, if you just look at the Cardinals have plenty of postseason success. The Braves, they have 1 world championship in Atlanta, 1 in Milwaukee. The Nationals have never been. The Dodgers have had they've had their share of world championships. The last one was 1988. Of course, they've lost in the World Series the last 2 years. The Yankees have, what is it now, 28 world championships?
Mm-hmm.
I think the Twins have 3. The Rays have been to the World Series once and lost, and the Astros won 2 years ago for their only world title.
Okay, so looking at these teams remaining, I'm not cheering for the Yankees no matter what. I don't care if they had 10 Razorbacks on their team. I'm not cheering for the Yankees. Twins have Wes Johnson. Rays are the underdog with a team that doesn't, or an owner that doesn't seem to care about winning. They just happen to get it every year. Astros obviously have Keuchel. No, they don't have Keuchel. That was dumb. He's on the Braves now. Astros, I like Bregman. I know he's an LSU Tiger, but I like Houston. That was my first MLB game, so I guess I'll tie that in. Can't cheer for the Cardinals, Phil. Braves, I have a couple friends that are diehard Braves fans. That's cool. You mentioned the Nationals have never been to a World Series, so that'd be cool to see them win. Dodgers, I have a couple friends that are from the Los Angeles area, and they are diehard Dodgers fans, and they haven't won since, is it 80s or 70s, Phil?
The Dodgers?
Yeah.
1988 was their last world championship.
So, and I mean, that's a team that's gone through excruciating pain these last couple of years, similar to the Texas Rangers, where they've just come up short in the World Series. Has it been the last 2 years, correct?
Yeah. Do you know about the Kirk Gibson home run from 1988? When I say Kirk Gibson 1988, does that mean anything to you?
Is that where he's pumping the horn?
He's pumping his arm back and forth as he limps around the bases.
So was that against the Red Sox? Or
no, that was against the A's in Game 1 of the '88 World Series. Maybe the most shocking outcome of an at-bat in the history of the postseason, just because that Gibson could barely walk. It was his only at-bat of the entire World Series because he had a hamstring injury. And gosh, I feel like this should be a halftime homework assignment, Ty. It's one of the greatest moments in baseball history. He hits this home run off Dennis Eckersley, who was like unhittable.
So I'm going numb for a second. I'm just visually picturing it in my mind, just him running across the bases, doing the pump, doing
the Jack Buck call. I don't believe what I just saw. Yeah. Well, gosh, I should have assigned this earlier in the show, Ty. I'm remiss. I didn't do my job properly today.
Oh, I got a good assignment. I'm excited to. What am I watching again?
You're watching Airplane, which is good enough,
Yeah.
which is really much good enough. But if we're going to throw some sports into it, I think you might want to at least just watch the 9th inning of Game 1 of the 1988 World Series.
So we got about a minute left. What game's more appealing tonight? Nationals at the Dodgers or the Cardinals at the Braves? Two good games with a lot of storylines, right?
It's 2 really good games. I mean, I want to watch Keuchel go. I want to watch Dallas Keuchel in the postseason with a very exciting young Braves team. Now, one of the questions for the Braves are Freddie Freeman and Ronald Acuna Jr. truly healthy, because they've been battling injuries for a bit, and they really are the keys to the Braves scoring runs. So that will be the test. If the Braves are healthy, they're the more complete team, and I'm excited to see what Pro Hog Dallas Keuchel can do out there. All right, so that's later on today. In fact, it's just in a couple of hours for first pitch, so I better figure out the rest of my day because it's going to figure some baseball. You got NFL football on your TV tonight, the Rams and the Seahawks. Mm-hmm. Temple, East Carolina is the ESPN football broadcast. I think that'll be our boy Pat McAfee, so sit back, slice of pizza in the mouth, ice-cold Coors Light. Sounds like a good Thursday, doesn't it, my friend?
Exactly. Phil, real quick, fantasy question. Jared Goff or Matt Ryan, who should I start? Because I know you're just a stud when it comes to fantasy.
I'm going to go with Matt Ryan.
Ryan.
I'm not buying into Jared Goff this season. Not yet. All right, we'll come back tomorrow. For Ty, I'm Phil. Get up, get out, and get better.
Some people will never reach the top. Some will never even